Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today with a Bethesda news update. It appears they have one final game to announce this year according to an interview with Pete Hines by Tech Syndicate, which I will have linked down below. Be sure to check it out, full credit to him. This is what Pete Hines had to say.
Quake Champions free to play, and Elder Scrolls Legends free to play, and Elder Scrolls Online and Dishonor. Like, we have a ton of stuff going on. And we even have a game coming out this year that we haven't even told anybody about yet. So they can wait. It won't be so long. I'm not telling you.
Is it a new IP?
I'm not telling you.
What are we gonna get out
It's a good try. It's a good try. I'm just not telling.
Now, after I saw this video, I decided to toss it up on my Twitter, just get some audience feedback on what people thought it might be, and the natural response was a lot of people thinking it might be Bethesda Game Studios in Starfield, and I can understand why people jump to that conclusion because Todd Howard has gone on record multiple times of saying, I'd love it if I could completely shorten the window between announcement and release as much as possible. I think he said before he'd like to have it a month, so some people are thinking, oh my god, did they actually do it? One of those responses to my tweet actually was Pete Hines himself, and I thought this was something worth discussing because he said, I probably just had a concussion from the beating I took online and was rambling, ignore. And this injected doubt into the people who were just seconds ago believing so hard Bethesda had something to announce. Now, let me get this straight from my own interpretation. Pete Hines has been doing this for over 20 years. He knows what he said. I think there is clearly something they are going to announce. He wouldn't just say that in an interview, knowing anyone could get a hold of it. So what I'm saying here is this is Pete being Pete. He likes to play with the audience. He likes to joke around. You know, he's human. So in answer to the initial question, do I think something is going to be announced if the interview wasn't clear enough? I think yes. I think despite his joke on Twitter, yes, something is going to be announced. What is it though? For those thinking it's something from Bethesda Game Studios, I can practically guarantee you it is not. The reason I say that is because of retailers. This is going to be a big AAA title if this was Bethesda Game Studios. In order for them to properly promote this game, they need to let retailers know far in advance so retailers can stock the store, so they can put out promo material. And you already know that a Bethesda Game Studios game is not going to have a, for example, 1 month marketing period full of clothing and toys and all this different stuff. No, they would be able to milk whatever game they're doing next dry. Despite a lot of people not liking Bethesda Game Studios and Bethesda in general as much, there are still many fans out there of them who are going to buy the crap out of whatever ties into their next product they're launching. It would be silly to launch it in a small period like that from a business perspective, but also on top of that, it's just not simply feasible for it to be a big AAA title. With that said, what else could it be? I'd imagine it's one of two things: a port to some other system of one of their games. I don't know what game it could be, whether it's published or it's Bethesda Game Studios. Like I said, I'd really take the focus off Bethesda Game Studios here. I mean, we're getting Skyrim on the Switch this year. We're getting a lot of Bethesda Game Studios titles on VR. I think all we know about BGS is already out there for the rest of the year. I wouldn't get your hopes up there, so I'd take a look at their published titles personally, and that's if it's even a port. It could also be, which I think is a really accurate piece of speculation, is a mobile title, just not this big deal game, nothing that needed to be shown at E3. And the reason I think a lot of people thought this might have been like a big AAA title or something along those lines is simply because not many people want to accept that Bethesda's E3 2017 conference was as bad as it actually was. I know Bethesda would be the type of company to be bold enough to announce a game coming out in 2 months because they have certainly set some trends for our industry, both good and bad. One of them was the shortened marketing period, like with Fallout 4. So to do it again with even shorter would definitely be a really curious approach to their next title, but I think it would be far too risky and they'd be losing out on too much money. Although the excitement might be at an all-time high because it would just give fans 2 months to react and then boom, game's out. But I'm getting off track here. I personally think this is either a mobile game or a port. I don't think it's anything huge, and if it was something huge, I don't think Pete Hines would have teased it because we already know about the excitement factor, how much Bethesda heavily relies on it, how they like to just drop the news right in your lap out of complete nowhere. So those are simply my predictions on the subject here today. I'd love to hear yours in the comments down below. Fire away, ladies and gentlemen. Other than that, be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Those links are in the description down below, along with my Patreon. Do consider supporting that as it fuels all the content we create here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.